son gonna do this to you, yeah, your neighbor gonna do this to you. That was the position between him and his son. We not even really cool like that. You just my neighbor. You another man to me. Because of the evil that his children, some of them showed in their heart. Amnon done raped his sister, his half-sister, because they all David kids. Amnon raped his sister. At the dinner table, Absalom can't hold himself. Go over there and kill his brother who touched his sister. Now he flee. Then he get a heart while he gone. Man, I should be made king. My dad bugging. Now he try to raise up people to take over the kingdom from his father. And he the one who lay with all his father's concubines on top of the tent under the tutelage of an evil priest named Abiathar. This ain't good. But could Absalom try to use, God said this was going to happen, didn't he? So I'm doing evil because God told you somebody in your house was going to lay with these sisters. Even if I know God said that, I just don't want it to be me. You understand? Absalom could have been like, yo, God didn't name the cat who was going to do it. It could have been somebody else, not me. It wasn't one of David's other sons. His other sons didn't choose to lay with his daddy's wives. I'm using that because Absalom had a choice. Out of all his sons, he the one rose up. But God just let him know that spirit of trouble going to be there. And because wickedness is in the midst, somebody in your house going to be influenced to go against you. But it didn't have to be Absalom. Whoever it was bad. We knew Christ was going to be betrayed, right? But he still said, woe unto that man who betrayed me. It's better he wasn't born. It didn't have to be Judas. Judas could have let, man, you better look at one of the sons of Zebedee or something because it ain't going to be me that's going to betray. It was a choice. Judas made a choice to betray, even though the spirit of what wasn't going to happen was written. So if the Lord told my father, man, one of your sons going to raise up, man, and they going to cause trouble for your family. And I got 6 brothers. I just don't want it to be me. I don't want it to be none of us, but if it got to be somebody, not me. I'll pull a Hezekiah on you. Ain't it better that it ain't me? So, David, look at what the Lord told, look at what David said. Verse 13, he repented.
And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die.
So, but the little baby died. But look, what did he say? The Lord hath put away your sin. You will not die. Because David should have been stoned to death, according to the law of his day. Because even when Nathan came to him with a parable, David was like, who did this? The man deserved this, man. Bring him to me right now. He deserved to die. So David knew he deserved to die. But the Lord took it off him. But what I'm showing you is that David still down the line is considered a great righteous man in God's sight, right? But why can the Lord still say David's name? Like what we just read David didn't happen? Because God covered his sin. It's not because David. It's because God loved him enough and gave him another chance and covered up that which he done. It was still some situation to come, right? But I'm going to give you another chance. I'm not going to take the kingdom from you. You're going to still be king. God covered it, didn't he? Now that we see that, go to Psalm 32 and read what David wrote. David probably wrote this after God did what he did. Psalm 32 and 1.
Psalm 32 and 1. Blessed is he whose transgressions is forgiven, whose sin is covered.
That's it. All David could say, man, I'm blessed, man. God has forgiven me and covered that what I've done so that I can still walk before him and get a chance. But it was some evil coming down the line, and when them children grew up in that situation and found and understood what was going on, they had decisions to make. And some of them made the wrong decisions. Not all of them. Because David had many sons and daughters. We read what happened with Amnon and Absalom, but David ain't only have 2 sons. Go and read about all the kids David had. David had a lot of babies. So trouble came from 2 of them boys, Amnon and Absalom. But his other sons may have been like, man, our family got issues, man. I got to keep myself right. Just like you. You know the issues of your household as you grew up. You know the issues in your nearest family households as you was growing up. And you and your cousins sitting with each other talking about y'all grief as young men. And y'all got decisions to make. Like, yo, man, we got to do better than this, man. I get my wife's son, I'm not going to never treat her like we seen daddy treat mama. Beat her in her face and drag her across the floor, all out on the porch, embarrassing her in front of the neighbors. I ain't going to never treat my queen like that, son. That's a decision you going to make. Or you going to either be in his image and you going to wind up doing that too. You going to be a woman beater. This is true. It is so true. Let us go to Zechariah 3. David was righteous, but we see that David still rocks some filthy rags, huh? In all his greatness, that we all, everybody in this room who reads scripture got love for David, and we never met him personally. But we still see that such a righteous one that we hold in such great admiration still was dirty in some way, right? Hezekiah in all his greatness still got lifted up and was dirty in some way. The great David, who the book of Hosea and the prophet Jeremiah let you know, David shall be resurrected and shall be stand with God when God come to the earth, and he gonna make him king again in Israel after he resurrected and raised from the dead. Yup, he's still dirty. He still murdered a man. He still committed adultery. So he is not totally clean, even though his righteousness seemed to outweigh his dirtiness. And because of that little bit of filth, we need redemption. Zechariah 3, verse 1.
And he showed me Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. And the Lord said unto Satan, the Lord rebuke thee, O Satan, even the Lord that hath chosen Jerusalem rebuke thee. Is it not this a brand plucked out of the fire? Now Joshua was clothed with filthy garments and stood before the angel.
He was clothed with what?
Filthy garments.
How was he high priest and his garments still dirty? Because he was flesh and blood. In the law, even a high priest had to make a sacrifice for his own sins and the sins of his house, and then make sacrifice for the sins of the people too. So what I'm trying to show you is people in great position. We got great kings we've read about. We got a high priest in the temple, and God is showing you, yeah, he high priest, but he dirty too. He got some skeletons in his bag, in his closet, if you will, that he need to be cleaned from. Go ahead.
And he answered and spake unto those that stood before him, saying, Take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, Behold, I have caused thine iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with change of raiment. And I said, Let them set a fair mitre upon his head. So they set a fair mitre upon his head, and clothed him with garments. And the angel of the Lord stood by. And the angel of the Lord protested unto Joshua, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, If thou wilt walk in my ways, and if thou wilt keep my charge, then thou shalt also judge my house, and thou shalt keep my courts, and I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by.
Okay, now the point I want to make is he was already high priest, and his garments was dirty in the midst of him being high priest. So God is showing you, I know you dirty. Even though you are doing righteousness, you still dirty for things you have done in your life. I'm going to clean you up and take them dirty clothes off you, and I'm going to give you clean clothing. And if you continue to do what I want you to do, you're going to stand with these others who you see by me, standing by me. This is letting us know, brothers and sisters, we can be cleaned up even though we have filthy garments. But did Joshua change his own clothes? Or did the Lord have his clothes changed?